Hello and welcome to the Hail Mary Joe 2 TD Scorer Shows. And I want to welcome you this week for week number 2 of the 2024 season. So we have a Thursday night game between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. And then I have 4 other tickets, or 4 other players that I'm also going to be putting on this ticket. So this will be a 5-player ticket. I'm going to spend 50 cents on the ones, I'm going to spend 50 cents on the twos, and I'm going to spend 25 cents on the threes. Okay, so I'm going to spend a total of $10 on this ticket. Okay, now to go over week number 1 for the 2024 season. So in the 2023 season, we had 9 2 TD scores. And last week, we've had 7 2 TD scores and 1 3 TD score. So we had a total of 8 multiple scores, but that's one less than we had in 2023. Now in 2023 there were 15 total 2 TD scores in week number 2, so we're hoping to cash in on that and keep the trend going for week number 2 and have lots of scoring props. So I picked 5 players. Like I said, on Thursday's game, I'm going to pick between Buffalo and Miami, Jalen Waddell at plus 1,100 for 2 TDs. Yes, there's a couple of injury notes to take with Miami between Mozart and a chain maybe. So at the end of the day, yes, Tyreek Hill is the number 1 receiver for Miami Dolphins. He gets 36.4% of the looks, and as compared to Jalen Waddell, 17.2. But at the end of the day, people's main concern are trying to stop them 2 running backs and Tyreek Hill, which is going to open up some opportunities for Jalen Waddell, and I'm going to stick with him this week. So then as for the 4 players on the Sunday's games, I took 4 low-scoring games, and I'm going to pick, remember, this is not a stat-driven, because we're only going into week 2. So right now it's more so about how I seen this team play, how I seen the quarterback play, and how I seen the players play. So with regards to all that, it's more of a feeling and hunch because we just don't know what we got this year with this team and the players that we have. Our projections could be so far off, who cares? But, so, player number 2 on ticket number 1 is going to be as follows. It's the smallest total of the week. It's 38 points between Seattle and New England, and I'm taking JSN 2 TDs at plus 1,600. Yeah, Metcalf and Lockett did better than he did with catches and so forth, but I still think he was 2 for 2 for 19 yards. He's wide receiver 3. I think he has the potential to be wide receiver 2, and he should be wide receiver 2. It's just it hasn't worked out so far this year for him, but it's going to come up. I think him and Geno Smith are going to get it together. So the next game that I have is going to be between Cleveland and Jacksonville, total of 41.5. Cleveland looked absolutely horrible last week. I'm going with Jacksonville. I'm going with Christian Kirk. For Jacksonville, 2 TDs at plus 1,400. He's going to have to be involved more. He had a terrible week. He was 1 for 4 for 30 yards. Jacksonville is not going to win without him being involved, and they didn't win last week because he wasn't involved. Wow. So, that's it there. Then, on the 4th game for this week is going to be LA Chargers to Carolina Panthers. I can't pick any Carolina player because that team looked absolutely horrible. So I'm going to go with the player that I think looked the best for the Chargers, and that was Ladd McConkey. He was LA Chargers 2 TDs at plus 1,600 for 2 TDs this week. He was 5 for 7 for 39 yards and 1 TD last week. He is the stretcher baller. He's going to be ripping the seams, and they got to use him that way, and he's going to have to be more involved because they weren't playing all that well either, but compared to Carolina, I'd rather, yes, stick with this team. So the last game that I have with regards to this particular week is going to be the Giants, New York Giants at Washington Commanders. And the Giants were the shits, complete shits. I'm not picking them. I don't think that Jaden Daniels was any great quarterback. Yeah, he scored a couple of touchdowns, but at the end of the day, there's no sustainability to be any good team if your quarterback's the only one scoring touchdowns. So it's going to have to be their best players going to have to start getting involved and being involved, and that's going to be Terry McLaurin for Washington, 2 TDs at plus 1,600s. He was last week 17 for 24. That's the quarterback. He has to be better. and he has to throw more than 4 passes to McLaren. I mean, he's just, it's 1 a quarter. Come on, it should be 1 every drive, at least 1 every drive, but that's the way it is. So let's just go over them quick players and so forth. So on ticket number 1 for Sunday's games, I have Jalen Waddell for Miami, 2 touchdowns at plus 1100. I have JSN for Seattle, 2 touchdowns plus 1600. I have Christian Kirk for Jacksonville, 2 touchdowns plus 1400. I have Ladd McConaughey for 2 touchdowns at plus 1600. And the last player I have on this ticket is going to be Terry McLaurin for Washington, 2 touchdowns at plus 1600. Now please note, this is not financial advice. It's strictly advice as to what I'm doing and only what I'm doing. I am not authorized to give you decisions about how to gamble or what not to gamble. I can only tell you what I'm doing, and this is strictly what I'm doing. With regards to gambling, you know that the golden rule is only gamble what you can afford to lose. So that's it. Please have a great game. Enjoy the day, and please, we'll talk to you before Sunday's games. With a review of Thursday nights and with the rest of the picks for Sunday's game and Monday's game. Enjoy the games. All the best.